Learning how to budget can be a game changer for your finances, but only if you can get the budget to stick. In this video, we'll show you one of the main reasons why budgets fail, and we'll also teach you how to track your expenses to work around that. All you need is a blank calendar, a pen and some highlighters, and the guts to find out how you really spend your money. I'm Stacy from Keeping Up with the Changs, and in this video series, we're going to show you all our best tips on how to budget and save in ways that actually stick. Budgets always sound easy in theory, don't they? All you have to do is decide ahead of time how much you want to spend on your expenses and how much you want to be left with. Then, you follow the plan and ta-da! You'll be left with all this money to save, like the budget said you'd have. Except, it never really works out that way, does it? You struggle to stay within the spending limits you set, and by the end, you're just as broke as you were before you put in all the effort to try and budget. That's depressing. If you want a budget that really works, you need to figure out spending limits that you can actually follow. Otherwise, your budget is just wishful thinking. To kick off this video series, we'll teach you the main secret behind creating a successful budget, which is to start by tracking your expenses first. Later, in parts 2 and 3, we'll show you how to use the info you gathered to create a budget calendar and how to use that budget plus other super smart techniques to save big. If you're worried about this video series being a 3-parter, don't be. This won't be some crazy hours-long trilogy like Lord of the Rings that'll take up all of your time. We just want to provide detailed step-by-step walkthroughs and plenty of examples so it's super easy for you to follow. Our budgeting technique has no spreadsheets, less guesswork, and just going to stick better. So if you're ready to save money, let's do this. Before you even think about creating a budget, always start by tracking your expenses first. Many people who try to create their own budget go about it all wrong. Most of them jump right into writing out their expenses and setting their spending limits, fully expecting to come out on top just because they have a plan. But how do you know that the limits you set are reasonable or that you can follow them? How do you even know that you captured everything that you actually spend on? If you drop the ball on any of those things, you could be setting yourself up to fail. Some people try to work around that problem by researching what other people spend on certain expenses. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for your budget. If you ask 100 people, for example, what they spend on groceries, survey says, you'll get 100 different answers, even if you're talking same family size, living in the same city. And just because someone else can feed a family of 8 on $40 a week, that doesn't mean you can, or that you even want to. Instead of looking at what other people do, always start with the best benchmark for your situation, you. Grab a blank calendar and start writing down every single time you spend money or pay a bill, no matter how small the dollar amount. Do this regardless of whether you pay for it with cash, a debit or credit card, or by direct withdrawal from your bank account. We're not asking for a novel here. Just a dollar amount and a simple but clear description should be good enough. Fair warning, if you've never done anything like this before, you could be in for a rude awakening. That's because most people radically underestimate how much or how often they spend money. It might shock you to discover that you spend money every single day or even multiple times a day. Our true spending habits can be so shocking to us, mainly because we tend to spend mindlessly. That means we often spend more out of routine and habit than we do out of necessity, which can lead to a lot of wasted money. And on top of that, because we're literally spending without thinking, we tend to believe we're better with our finances than we actually are. So tracking your expenses honestly for at least 3 months is the best way to get a handle on how you really use your money, and that'll be 100% critical to creating a budget that you can actually follow. To make sure you don't miss writing down any expenses, keep your expense tracking calendar somewhere clearly visible in your wallet so that you'll see it every time you go to grab some cash or a card. You should also set aside 10 minutes a night to kind of mentally go through your day so you can jot down any other things you might have missed. If pen and paper is too old school for you, you could try an app like Personal Capital, which offers free tools that let you track and monitor your expenses digitally. For me personally, I think our lives are so digital that anytime we do something by hand, it stands out way more. So I like to track my expenses by pen and paper, but to each their own. Once you've tracked yourself for at least 3 months, the next step is to organize your data visually. For this part, I like to add highlighters to the mix because, let's be real, when it comes to the fun department, budgeting can use all the help it can get. But on top of that, using color makes it easier to see patterns in your spending and helps your brain better absorb what it's looking at. Our initial focus is going to be what you spend on your essentials, a term that pretty much refers to your basic necessities. We like to use 7 categories: housing and utilities, groceries, transportation, healthcare, childcare and pet care, minimum debt payments, and an other category, just in case you have any expenses that don't quite fit nicely into the first areas. Looking through your expenses from the past 3 months, you're going to go through all 7 categories one at a time and highlight the expenses that fall under each category. For example, the first essentials category is housing and utilities, so you'll highlight any spending that relates to keeping a roof over your head and the utilities running. Once you finish all 3 months, move on to the next category, which is groceries, but switch your highlighter color. Keep doing this for each of the essentials categories one by one until you've gone through all 3 months and highlighted your expenses for all 7 of them. If you need more highlighter colors, click on the link in our video description below to find a variety pack that'll work perfectly for this task. Now, you might come across some expenses that seem like they could fit in multiple categories. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. Just choose one, but consistently use that same one every time the expense comes up again. By the time you're done with all 7 categories, you should have quite the rainbow on your pages, and you'll have much more insight on how you're actually using your money. This color-coded expense tracking calendar tells you exactly how much and how often you spend. By the way, did you happen to notice how much of your spending isn't highlighted? Now, if you're worried that I'm about to tell you you have to cut all that out, or that I'm going to get all judgy McJudgerson on you, relax. This is your money in your life, so you should totally have the right to decide how you want to use it to make you happy. Just because you turn to someone for help and advice doesn't necessarily mean you want to live exactly the way they do. I get that, so I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just pointing out the non-essentials because, honestly, that's probably why you're here in the first place. You don't feel like your spending and your goals are quite aligned, and you just want to find a way to get there, which budgeting can certainly help you do. There isn't anything inherently wrong about spending on non-essentials, but if there are different choices you'd rather be making, choices that you truly believe will leave you happier and better off in the long run, then tracking your expenses is the perfect way to find out what are you doing now so you can start changing the things you want to change. So there you have our step-by-step take on how to track your expenses. What's really fun is doing this exercise with others. So be sure to share this video with friends and family who want to learn this same valuable skill that can ultimately help them save money. In the next part of this video series, we'll show you how to use the information you gathered on these expense tracking calendars to create a realistic baseline budget that's customized to your spending habits and your bills. If you liked what you saw, we'd love to get a thumbs up or hear your thoughts, so feel free to give us your feedback and drop a comment below. While you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook to hear more of our unique take on money and happiness. I'm Stacy from Keeping Up with the Changs. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in part 2 of this video series. Cheers. So you can start changing the things you want to change. And that's a helicopter. I think we've had a fighter jet, an airplane, a helicopter, and a motorcycle in like these last 30 minutes.